democracy, and ever-changing views, and computer terminology. Commodore's news. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you. Are you keeping up? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you.
Hi, I'm Graham. Welcome back to the Commodore Cave. Today I'm going to tell you about the 10 things that I do to try and preserve the retro computers that I have in my collection. I'm talking about computers such as this Commodore 64, which was made in 1983, well out of warranty and never really intended to go as long as this. If you want to keep things like these running, you need to be prepared to put the time and effort into it. Tip number one is try to buy computers that are working. I know that you can't always go and examine the computer personally, some of them are coming from overseas, but make sure that they claim to be working, especially if you're buying over eBay. That way, if they don't, you have some recourse. Tip number two, don't buy 30-year-old equipment if you don't have the skills to repair it yourself or the resources to have someone do it for you. I'm very fortunate. I have a friend, Guru, who has pretty much worked on most of my computers and brought them back up to working condition. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't be going today. Tip number three, resist the urge to plug it in and turn it on straight away. I know it's very tempting, but that can cause a lot of damage if it hasn't been examined. Which takes us to tip number four. Open the case and give it a good inspection. I usually use a paintbrush to get off any loose dust or debris that's in there. You'd be amazed at what comes in some of these computers. And I also use a torch to make sure I've got plenty of light and have a good look at what's going on in the computer. Look for any signs of damage, caps that are bulging or leaking, tracks that have got acid on them. If it's got a battery in it, especially there, have a look and make sure it hasn't leaked. Tip number five, if there's any mechanical components like floppy disk drives or CD drives, give those a good look. See if the grease is still lubricant. If not, replacing that can actually get a floppy drive that's not working going again. Definitely worth a try. Tip number six, dump the brick of death. These things have killed many Commodore computers over the years. They go bad and they'll actually fry the chips. So make sure you don't use one of these. If you do, use a filter between it so it's protected. Tip number seven, the chips inside the computer are becoming rarer and more difficult to find, and they can get very hot as well. Heat sink them. Heat sinks such as these are dirt cheap over eBay. You just remove the plastic and put them on middle of the chips, just like that. Every chip that will take one gets one. And so at the cost of about $1, the heat problem here has been mitigated, and hopefully this computer will carry on a lot longer yet. Tip number eight, many of these computers are susceptible to damage from sunlight, UV radiation, and actually changes the color of them. I've installed UV film very simply and cheaply on the window of the Commodore Cave to filter out that light. Tip number nine, give your computers a cozy home that they like. That means a dry, dust-free environment as much as possible and moderate temperatures. Tip number 10, if you're buying computers over eBay and they claim to be working, test them as soon as you can. If there are faults there, you then have a position to negotiate or get a refund if there's a problem. I'm not pretending to be an expert here, but these 10 tips have held me in good stead over the years and kept my collection going. If you've got any other tips that you think I might have missed, please leave a comment. Would love to hear about it. Thank you for visiting the Commodore Cave. Until next time, see ya.
Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore is keeping up with you.